I am honored to be back with you this morning, and I am humbled that it is under such circumstances. I bring with me today words of encouragement and grace from the Association of Unity Churches. I bring all of the prayers that are being prayed for you in this now moment from our partners at Silent Unity. And I bring a special message of support from the board of directors at Unity Worldwide Headquarters. They've asked me to tell you that they are reaching out to your minister, Sue, to her family, and to your board of directors, and to the staff at this church. Their love, their grace, their prayers are never ceasing. Several years ago, I was furnishing a newly remodeled study. And I went to a local auction house to purchase some artwork. And as I walked into the auction house, they had this beautiful vase that was on the auction block. And I thought, that's going to fit perfectly in this blank space right behind my desk. I quickly grabbed my bidder's number and I started bidding. And I won. And what happens at that particular auction house is when you win, the auctioneer's assistant places the item in a bag or a box, grabs some fabric or tissue paper out of another box beside it and wraps it up, puts your number on it, and you pick it up later. And I watched as that happened, not thinking much about it because I had more art to buy. And as I got home later that evening, I was unpacking my treasures and put my vase in its new special place. And I told first service, by the way, that in Oklahoma we call it a vase. So I'm going to go with that, okay? Put my vase in its special place. And as I noticed what it was wrapped in, I just began to unravel it. I thought it was just an old piece of fabric, when actually, I'm going to switch microphones. This is what it was wrapped in. Pretty cool, huh? So before you get any ideas or try to figure out which car is mine in the parking lot, I will tell you that neither my vase, or this tapestry was worth a whole lot of money. You're not going to be seeing me on Antiques Roadshow anytime soon. I did take this tapestry, however, to a friend of mine. She is a master weaver. She creates beautiful rugs, and she has several looms set up in her home. And I asked her how much it's worth and what it represented, and she quickly told me that you could buy that same thing at Michael's or Hobby Lobby for about $12. No, it's probably worth a little more than that. But as I was in her home and noticing some of her rugs that she had masterfully made, I noticed hanging on her wall was a beautiful tapestry. And I went over and I touched it and I looked at it and I studied it and I saw the intricate details and thought, wow, I wish I had that sort of talent. I just don't have that sort of patience. But as I was looking at it, I noticed that something came alive in it. And it was more than just a piece of fabric. It was a story. And as I was looking at it, for some reason, this verse that's coming up on the screen came to my mind. It's from Colossians chapter 2, and it says, I want you woven into a tapestry of love, in touch with everything there is to know of God. Then you will have minds confident and at rest, focused on Christ, God's great mystery. All the richest treasures of wisdom and knowledge are embedded in that mystery and nowhere else. Isn't that lovely? As was mentioned in my intro, I have been a grief and transformational coach for many years. I host a weekly radio program that is broadcast all over the world about grief. I have written curriculum pieces on grief. I have taught grief all over this nation. I am well educated in grief. I am well versed in it. And I can't help you this morning with yours. Isn't that interesting? Your grief is just that, it's yours. I can come and share lots of things about an understanding of it, and at the same time, I can't fix it. And even if I had that power, I wouldn't want to, because it is my belief that grief is a natural healing process. It is a journey, and I bless you on that journey. I am with you on that journey. As I was preparing to come here today, I was thinking about the many times that I've counseled others in their grief or in change in general. I thought about all of the similar circumstances and situations that, whether it be individual or collective bodies, experience when they lose something or someone. And I know of the feelings that arise. It's a gamut of emotions, isn't it? I'm sure that when you heard the news of Sean, it was a shock. And we move from that shock to a place of overwhelming sadness. And then we usually move to a place of feeling completely numb. Wherever you are on the journey, it's where you are. I am wondering, however, if you are to the place of feeling what we call helpless. We don't use that term in Unity much, do we? But it is a feeling, it is an emotion of feeling helpless, wishing that we could reach out and do something, say something, touch someone, make it better. And yet, in our wanting to help, to be of assistance, we too want the same thing. We want to cry out for help. And those emotions feel like utter chaos in our body. It is a roller coaster ride. Perhaps it was from the first time I was welcomed into this faith community with such love and grace. Perhaps it was the first time I sang with this amazing band that you have. Or maybe it's the stories that I've heard from you, both individually, just today, or through Facebook, or whatever the case may be. I feel a connection, and I am honored to stand on this platform with you as you embark on this journey. That day when I reached up and touched my friend's tapestry hanging on her wall, and even as I touched this one, I noticed that it's easy to highlight, to feel the texture of it, to see the colors in it. I noticed that when I look closer, there are many threads that are woven throughout it, not just one single one. It's interesting to note, however, that just like you're looking at it now, you're looking at it from one perspective. I want you to notice that I'm looking at it from another perspective. And from the perspective that you're looking at it, as I hold it in my hand, you see more than just a piece of fabric that is sitting idle. You have been noticing the story that it tells, right? Or at least making up a story. From where you're sitting, from your current perspective, you see that this tapestry is more than a piece of fabric. Its true nature is in the story that it tells. But as I was holding it up, I saw it from a different perspective. I saw something much different than you. You saw muted colors. I saw brilliant blues. You saw a story being told. I saw utter chaos. The back of it doesn't tell the same story. And as I look at it from that perspective, and I see your perspective in your eyes, I want to cry out, help me know your story. When my friend noticed that I liked her tapestry, she went over and took it off the wall. She handed it to me so that I could have a better look, and I turned it around and I noticed that her tapestry, one of much more dimension and beauty than this one that I got as tissue paper. Her story was even more chaotic in the back. Hers was threads and yarns that did not weave in and out on a linear dimension, but rather all over like a roller coaster, up and down and crisscrossing back and forth. And from my perspective of seeing it up close and having the advantage of noticing and feeling that it is so much more than one simple thread, but rather many threads that overlap and crisscross in a variety of directions, those multicolored threads and yarns told a story of themselves. You see, a great tapestry is woven by a masterful hand, but it is woven from many, many threads. And those threads all together tell a rich and significant story. I come here today in very short order to simply remind you that each of you represent a thread. Some of your threads are long, some of them are short. Some are blue, some are red. Some are a soft texture and some are a little more rough. But each of them play an important part of a story. And each and every thread is a vital piece of the masterpiece that is to become. You as an individual hold exactly, hear me, you hold exactly the next thread that's needed for that masterpiece to become. When a feeling of helplessness or wonder or uncertainty of how or what to do arises, I want you to remember the lyrics that we sang earlier in the song Weave. The lyrics say that we are many textures, we are many colors, each one different from the other, but we are entwined with one another in one great tapestry. And when you're not sure of what to do or what to say or how to act or even how to be in your body in that moment, I want you to remember that you need not worry about what the future holds, because the songs, the lyrics in that song continue to say, even a moment ago, still we did not know our unity, only diversity. And now the Christ in me. And notice what Colossians 2 says. Christ, God's great mystery. The Christ consciousness, God's great mystery in me, is reflected and honored in thee. As my friend took her tapestry from the wall and I was allowed to study it, to hold it, to appreciate it, as I was allowed to see it from a different perspective, I came to see that these threads are not even all the same texture, the same size. They are thick in places and they are thin in others, because some are stretched more than others. Some are barely visible wisps of bright color. And what I noticed in my tapestry and in hers is that many times the colors fade, but only for an indeterminate amount of time, because then they're picked up again later in the tapestry. Metaphysically, we would call that eternal life. The fading and disappearing of colors only serves to heighten our awareness of their very existence. It piques our appetite and creates this anticipation of their eventual rebirth into the tapestry. In Native American traditions, you have seen rugs that are worn either over the shoulder or around the waist. You've seen the blankets that they use in their sacred ceremonies. Those blankets represent wisdom in their culture. And it's been said that wisdom is like a woven blanket. You can wrap yourself in it. You can find warmth and comfort and protection. But a tapestry is more than a blanket, because a tapestry bears an image. A tapestry creates a vision. A tapestry tells a story. A tapestry also hangs in a place of honor. A blanket is thrown over a couch, over the bed. A tapestry hangs on the wall to tell its story, to inspire, to encourage. It is art, it is creativity, it is an expression. Some would even call it grace in motion. And the intricate details of a tapestry can metaphysically represent to us the very complexity of life itself. Not merely one life, but many lives. Many lives connected together. So as you wander and seek and try to do and show your love, I want you to encourage one another to take heed of the thread that is yours. Your thread may be long and run through the entire tapestry. It may be very bright in color and take center stage. Or it may be quiet and unassuming. It may feel a bit muted. It may be fresh and new and only overlap one other thread. Whatever the case may be, each thread is filled with grace and elegance, and every single thread plays an important part in the weaver's grand design. All the individual threads that are woven into this tapestry are woven in and out of life and places. They are connecting all of the rainbows of emotions that you are feeling. Colossians 2 promises that the richest treasures of wisdom and knowledge are embedded in the mystery of the Christ consciousness and nowhere else. We are encouraged to be a tapestry of love. We are encouraged to be a tapestry of love. My favorite part of this is in touch with everything there is to know of God. in touch with everything includes being in touch with all of the feelings and emotions that you feel, that you experience, that you are living, that you wish you could push away. That vase that I bought at the auction house that day still sits on my shelf behind my desk. It does nothing but collect dust. But this tapestry hangs over the baby grand piano in my living room. This is seen by every visitor in my home. And as I sit at my piano and write music and tell my heartstring story, I tell it to this, and it tells me its story over and over, and it comes today to share in yours. The magnificent tapestry that is known as Unity of Springfield continues to be woven in new and wondrous ways. With every sacred stitch that you intertwine with love and grace and peace. Let me just remind you that from the moment you came onto this earth, you were given a thread. Think about what that is in your life. Think about what your thread represents. Name it and claim it and begin to weave it into the great tapestry of this community. Take your thread and weave it carefully and hold tight to the threads around you. Because if this tapestry were weaved untightly, it would fall apart. Weave it tightly so that your tapestry will never fray or unravel. And as you guide your thread, mourn not the loss of any color. Release the worry of its fading. Be assured that this masterwork is woven with all the threads of knowledge and wisdom that is promised in Colossians 2. And create a tapestry of community. Create a tapestry of shalom, of peace, of God's goodness. And allow yourself, as I just sang, to be still and let God love you. Allow yourself to be still. Colossians 2 says, at rest, focused on the Christ consciousness, God's great mystery. The mystery of spirit, for that is the master weaver. Thank you for having me today. May you be blessed on this journey. Namaste.